Another quick video here that I want to kind of answer. The question was actually longer than this. It was, so Russum says, very active VIP member of our community here, says, how do you feel about the 8.5 by 5 by 5 notebooks for paper sets versus 8.5 by 11 notebooks with the first drawn line through the middle? So first of all, let me just say, if you don't know what a Zettelkasten is, this video is not going to tell you how to do what it is. You got to go look for it and study it. Go to Luhmann, LUHMANN.surge.sh, and read Luhmann's own paper. Please promise me you'll read that. And before you read any of the crap out there from other people trying to sell you something, including Obsidian. So go read it, and then you can study the method. I'm not going to talk about it. So I've chosen to follow a version of the Zettelkasten method that uses, at most, all my decisions are based on, can I do it on paper and pencil by itself? And then I add the compatible paper version, which means I actually write common mark in my Zettel here. There's lots of them here, but I write common mark in my, so let's back up a little bit. So this is more specific to the paper size. That's the question's about. So this is what, 8.5, what is this size? I think it's 8.5 by, I don't even know. I think this is half of an 8.5 by 11. All right. So it's in a sketchbook that we had. We got them on sale, and so I just bought a bunch of them. And it turns out, after doing the research, and very few people know this, when they study Zettelkasten, they think that they're using index cards, and they're not. In fact, he specifically says, do not use index cards, use paper slips, and this is the size. Nobody knows that, though, because they didn't read the paper. If they read the paper, they'd know it. And he has a very specific reason for that. I'm going to let you read it to find it out. But, so this is actually the original size. So this is 8.5 by, half of an 8.5 by 11 page, so 5.5 or something. Now, this, so you got to understand that when he did this Zettelkasten, he had these boxes within arm's reach, and he had thousands of these Zettels, 90,000 of these things inside, of his little boxes that he had to reach on the same table. So he was constrained by lots of things, and we're not, because we're digital, right? So what I do just in my process is, like, sometimes, like, if I'm away from my computer for any reason, I'll have ideas and I'll do the whole Zettelkasten thing, and I'll capture a Zet real quick and make it, dirty. And yeah, I know. I love the A4 stuff. Those are really cool. We're not, that the dimensions are all divisible, right? I love that about that. So I found that this is too much space for me usually. Like when I'm having a portable idea, I actually, strangely enough, I end up using I use up half of it and I put a line in the middle, and I don't know, I just use that. And then if I needed the whole page, I can use the whole page if I want, but I tend to cut it in half. And the reason for that is so that it forces me to cognitively contain the idea. And that's the key part of Zettelkasten, is you want to live within the limitations, because that's going to keep you because your cognitive guardrails. So you can be like, okay, this is way too much on this thing. This is actually 3 ideas here, instead of one big freaking long idea that's got stuff spewing all throughout it. So that kind of mind mapping ideas kind of plays into the whole thing. So I ended up splitting mine in half, and it turns out these are about the same size as index cards. So if you wanted to use a smaller notebook, I would never do that, because I can't hold it. This is already, this is my perfect size notebook, by the way. I don't like the big ones, and I don't like the super tiny ones. I mean, maybe they'd fit in your pocket better or something. I don't know. But this, to me, is the ideal size. I really swear by rings here, because I want to be able to go back and forth until I get this thing digitized and put it into my digital thing. Sometimes I might not even do that, right? Until I get it added to my digital Zettelkasten. I want it on 3-ring binder, because I just want to be able to flip through the things, right? And I give them IDs if I want to, and then page numbers, stuff like that. So I actually I haven't done it yet, but I probably am going to integrate my paper sets with my digital Zet, and then if it's worth keeping, it's something I do too. See this one here? See that one there that's crossed out? That's because I transferred it over. So rather than deleting or throwing it out, I will cross it out when I digitize it, or when I finish that work. So that's my method. You can do that. It still isn't convenient as Vim. It isn't, but there's actually a problem with stuff that's too convenient, I find. If it's too convenient to write your idea down, it might be good to capture initially, but it also, I find that my better ideas come about, my best, absolutely, the best code I've ever written, I wrote on paper first, because it slows down your process of thinking. You're actually thinking about the problem that you're diagnosing. Every time I see people like busting out really fast code and pretending like to be, that's not how coding happens. Most coding, the deconstruction of the problem is the main work of coding. It's not how fast you can type into the keyboard. In fact, I've made many problems because I've been too quick to do something a certain way. Some people would argue that that's the way to do it and then come back and refactor it, whatever. I personally don't like that. So the other reason I like the 3-ring binder is you have to have a mechanical pencil. I swear by one with the eraser and stuff. And then I just clip this on there so that I can carry that around with me. And yeah, I grab this thing when I'm going to the restroom. I grab it when I'm going on a date with my wife and I'm going to be sitting in the passenger seat and I know it, if I'm going to be bored. I grab this, I grab my phone. And until I can get an app made for the phone, which I intend to do, this is going to be how I'm going to do this. This also lets me diagram and things that you cannot do with Vim. I mean, a lot of my Zets are visual. Some of them are like, I'm going to show this here and that kind of thing. And so I tend to do that kind of thing. I mean, that's a long video, but that's the essence of it. So I use an 8.5 by, what is it? I use a 5.5 by whatever this is. It's not 8.5 by, it's half of that. So it would be 4.25 by 5.5, I think. No, it's 8.5. Okay, never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's 8.5 by 5.5. Yeah. So that's the one. That's a short answer.